It might surprise you to know that Diana Ross's 5 children have all taken remarkably different paths in life. The legendary Supremes singer raised a family as dazzling and diverse as her own career, and decades later, each of her kids has carved out a unique identity, from Hollywood stars to business leaders. In 2025, they continue to honor their mother's legacy while forging their own. Here's a look at Diana Ross's 5 children and where they are now. Rhonda Ross Kendrick. Diana Ross's eldest child, Rhonda Ross Kendrick, born Rhonda Suzanne Silberstein, entered the world on August 14, 1971, into a life already intertwined with music royalty. Her birth was surrounded by both love and complexity, the kind of emotional nuance that would later shape her understanding of family, identity, and artistry. While her biological father is Berry Gordy, the legendary founder of Motown Records, Rhonda was raised by Robert Ellis Silberstein, Diana Ross's first husband. The couple married when Diana was 2 months pregnant with Rhonda, and Silberstein raised her as his own daughter, providing her with a stable and loving home alongside her younger sisters, Tracee Ellis Ross and Chudney Ross. For years, Rhonda believed Silberstein was her biological father. It wasn't until she was a teenager that she learned the truth about her lineage. In a 2015 interview with the New York Post, Rhonda recalled how the revelation unfolded with surprising ease rather than trauma. The bottom line was, I looked just like Gordy, and my sisters looked just like their father, a 6-foot-tall Jewish-American man, she said. What could have been a destabilizing discovery instead became an empowering one. She explained that she and her sisters had always viewed Berry Gordy as an affectionate uncle, someone deeply involved in their lives. When the truth came out, it felt like a natural connection rather than a shocking twist. For Rhonda, it was more a completion of her story than a disruption. That sense of wholeness, of accepting all parts of her identity, became a cornerstone of Rhonda's artistic journey. Much like both of her parents, she was drawn to music early in life, but her artistic voice developed along a distinctive path. According to her website, Rhonda's sound is based in traditional jazz, but pulls from the entire African diaspora. Her work fuses classic soul, spiritual jazz, and spoken word poetry into a deeply personal form of storytelling. I primarily consider myself a storyteller and a poet, she once said. I use my music to inspire and to uplift. Those words encapsulate her broader artistic philosophy, to create art that not only entertains, but also heals and connects. In 1996, Rhonda married acclaimed jazz pianist Rodney Kendrick, forming both a romantic and creative partnership that has endured for decades. Together, they've collaborated musically and built a life centered on creativity, faith, and family. Their son, Rafe Henoch Emmanuel Kendrick, was born in 2009, continuing the family's multi-generational artistic lineage. Rafe's charisma shone brightly when he introduced his grandmommy Diana Ross at the 2019 Grammy Awards, a moment that delighted fans and highlighted the strength of the Ross family bond. Though Rhonda grew up in the shadow of 2 towering figures, Diana Ross, one of the most celebrated vocalists of all time, and Berry Gordy, a pioneer of modern music, she worked hard to carve her own place in the industry. For years, she quietly honed her craft, performing at jazz venues, writing introspective lyrics, and developing a musical identity rooted in authenticity rather than celebrity. Her journey reached a milestone in 2017 when she received what she called the gig of a lifetime, the opportunity to open for her mother on tour. I was very moved when she asked me to open for her, Rhonda told the Sarasota Herald-Tribune, because what it says to me is that yes, I'm her daughter, and yes, there's nepotism at play, but it's not solely that. She reflected that her mother's invitation came after 2 decades of hard work and artistic development. For 20 years I've been singing, and she's never asked me before, she explained. So what that says to me is, She likes what I am building as my own brand and my own art and my own career. She likes it, she respects it, and she feels that it's a good companion to what she is doing. And I agree. This mother-daughter collaboration represented not just a personal triumph, but a symbolic passing of the torch. Diana Ross, who had long been the face of Motown glamour and excellence, shared the stage with her daughter as an equal artist, one who had earned her place through passion, persistence, and a voice uniquely her own. Beyond her music, Rhonda Ross Kendrick has established herself as a keynote speaker and an Emmy-nominated actress. Her performances often explore themes of identity, empowerment, and spiritual resilience, topics she's intimately familiar with. She gained recognition for her acting in the late 1990s and early 2000s, most notably for her role on the long-running soap opera Another World, for which she received an Emmy nomination. Whether on stage, in song, or behind a microphone, Rhonda's message remains consistent: to live authentically and fearlessly, embracing every chapter of one's story. Tracee Ellis Ross. When Diana Ross and her first husband, Robert Ellis Silberstein, welcomed their daughter Tracee Joy Silberstein on October 29, 1972, the world gained a future icon in her own right. Born into a family of music royalty and glamour, Tracee grew up surrounded by creativity, rhythm, and stage lights. But she would ultimately make her mark not in music, but in acting, comedy, fashion, and entrepreneurship. Today, she's known globally as Tracee Ellis Ross, a name that reflects both the legacy she inherited and the fierce individuality she built for herself. From an early age, Tracee was captivated by the world of performance. While her mother was performing to sold-out audiences around the globe, Tracee was quietly developing her own voice and sense of identity. Though she adored her mother's talent and showmanship, she was determined to build a career defined by her own merit, not by the Ross name. After studying theater at Brown University, she began working as a fashion editor and model before eventually finding her way to acting, the medium that would make her a household name. Her breakout came in 2000 when she landed the role of Joan Clayton on the CW's Girlfriends. The show became a cultural phenomenon and a defining piece of early 2000s television. As the warm, ambitious, and occasionally neurotic den mother of a close-knit group of black women navigating love and career in Los Angeles, Tracee captured audiences with her authenticity and humor. She starred on Girlfriends for all 8 seasons, from 2000 to 2008, earning widespread acclaim for bringing complexity and relatability to a role that became a touchstone for women of color on television. After Girlfriends ended, Tracee continued to evolve, exploring new creative avenues and waiting for the right project that would challenge her as an actress. That opportunity arrived in 2014, when she was cast as Dr. Rainbow Bo Johnson on ABC's hit sitcom, Blackish. As the loving, quirky, and wise matriarch of the Johnson family, Tracee delivered one of the most beloved performances on modern television. Over 8 seasons, she earned 5 Emmy nominations for her portrayal of Bo, helping redefine what it meant to be a modern working mother on screen. The series finale in 2022 marked the end of a cultural era and solidified Tracee's place among television's most respected comedic talents. But while her on-screen character embodied the archetype of the devoted wife and mother, Tracee has always been refreshingly candid about her real-life choices. In a 2018 interview with InStyle, she reflected on her decision to remain single and child-free at 45, saying, "It's sort of fascinating to be 45 and single and childless. These are very big and very personal questions that aren't anyone's business, but that somehow become fodder for public conversation." She spoke openly about the pressures society places on women to follow a specific script: marriage, motherhood, domesticity, and how she's learned to embrace the freedom of defining happiness on her own terms. Tracee expanded on that sentiment in a 2021 interview with Marie Claire, saying, "I used to put myself to sleep dreaming of my wedding. And I would still love all of that. But what am I going to do? Just sit around waiting? Shut up. I've got so many things to do. Her words resonated deeply with women everywhere. A declaration of self-worth and autonomy in a culture that often equates a woman's fulfillment with her relationship status. One of the many things to do she referred to was building her own company. Inspired by her personal struggles to find products for her natural hair, Tracee founded Pattern Beauty, a hair care line celebrating natural textures and curls. The idea had taken root years earlier while she was working on Girlfriends. As she told The Tonight Show in 2021, it started out for me because I couldn't find products and wasn't seeing my natural beauty mirrored back to me in the world. Then, when I got on Girlfriends, I realized I was not the only one. After a decade of failed attempts and waiting for the right partners, she finally decided to launch it herself. "It's been the most rewarding thing to be a CEO and founder," she said proudly, and Pattern Beauty has since become one of the most successful Black-owned hair care brands in the United States. In 2020, Tracee's influence in fashion was formally recognized when she received the Fashion Icon Award at the People's Choice Awards. On stage, she paid tribute to her mother, the woman who had first introduced her to the transformative power of style. Calling Diana the icon herself, Tracee recalled collecting beads that had fallen off her mother's dazzling stage gowns as a child. "I wanted to have pieces of the magic," she said, "seeds of the fashion dream that I was cultivating for myself." It was a moving moment that linked mother and daughter across generations of artistry and self-expression. That same year, Tracee fulfilled another lifelong dream, one she had long been hesitant to pursue: singing. In the 2020 film The High Note, she made her singing debut, playing a pop star on the brink of reinvention. For Tracee, the experience was both exhilarating and terrifying. "There's a reason I waited 47 years to let my voice out publicly," she told People. "It was my childhood dream to sing, but terrifying when your mother is who my mother is." She admitted that the idea of comparison had always loomed large, even as an adult. But when she finally gathered the courage to share one of her songs with Diana, the reaction was pure love. Sitting together in a car, Tracee played her mother a track from the film. "My mom teared up and said, 'Finally, finally.' We just kept looking at each other. We were both so excited, Chudney Ross." When Diana Ross and Robert Ellis Silberstein welcomed their youngest daughter, Chudney Lane Silberstein, on November 4, 1975, their family was complete. The youngest of the Ross Silberstein trio, following her sisters Rhonda and Tracee Ellis Ross, Chudney grew up surrounded by music, art, and creativity, but her life would take a more grounded and service-driven path. While her family was filled with performers and public figures, Chudney carved out a distinctive space for herself as an educator, author, and advocate for children's literacy. From an early age, Chudney was known as the thoughtful and observant one in the family, the sister who loved to read, write, and explore the world quietly. Rather than immediately stepping into the entertainment spotlight, she chose to pursue higher education, earning a degree in English and Fine Arts from Georgetown University in Washington, D.C. During her time there, she didn't just focus on academics. She also joined the rowing team, reflecting the discipline and teamwork that would later define her approach to both career and family life. After graduation, Chudney made an unexpected move that surprised those who assumed she'd follow directly in her mother's glamorous footsteps. She joined Teach for America, an AmeriCorps program dedicated to improving education in underserved communities. For several years, she worked as an elementary school teacher, teaching young children and shaping their early learning experiences. Her decision spoke volumes about her values, a belief in service, education, and empowerment over celebrity. On her LinkedIn profile, she later reflected that her time teaching was among the most rewarding experiences of her life, a chapter that shaped her worldview and strengthened her lifelong passion for nurturing young minds. Still, with the Ross family's artistic DNA, Chudney eventually found her way into the entertainment world, though behind the scenes. In the early 2000s, she took on production roles, including serving as a production manager on NBC's reality series Fame, 2003, and a producer on the 2004 project Mesmerized. While she enjoyed working in the creative industry, her real calling remained in education, storytelling, and helping children discover the magic of books. In 2011, Chudney turned that passion into a tangible dream by opening a children's bookstore and event space in Santa Monica, California, called Books and Cookies. The concept was unique, a welcoming community hub where children could read, learn, play, and celebrate their love for stories. The store hosted reading sessions, birthday parties, and literacy events, blending fun with learning. Chudney's mission was to make reading a joyful experience rather than a chore. Parents loved the concept, and the store became a beloved gathering place for local families. Her dedication to children's literature didn't stop there. In 2012, Chudney published her first children's book, Lone Bean, through HarperCollins. The story, featuring a spirited young girl navigating friendship, family, and self-discovery, was praised for its warmth, humor, and relatability. It reflected Chudney's own teaching background and her understanding of how stories can help children build empathy and confidence. Writing the book was also a personal milestone, a creative endeavor that allowed her to merge her literary education with her lifelong mission to inspire the next generation. By the time Lone Bean was published, Chudney's personal life had also blossomed. In September 2012, she welcomed her first daughter, Callaway Lane Ross Faulkner, with her then-boyfriend, Joshua Faulkner. 3 years later, the couple tied the knot in June 2015 in an intimate outdoor wedding surrounded by family and close friends. The ceremony, held in Hawaii, was steeped in personal meaning. As Chudney shared in an interview with Inside Weddings, the islands held a special place in their love story. Our first big trip together was to Maui. I learned I was pregnant while on a trip with my mother to Oahu, and we had our baby moon on Kauai. The couple's connection to Hawaii's natural beauty made it the perfect destination to celebrate their union. Their family grew again in October 2019 when they welcomed their second daughter, Everly Ernestine Ross Faulkner, completing their family of 4. As a mother, Chudney has spoken about the challenges and joys of balancing work, creativity, and parenting. In a 2020 interview with Veronica Beard, she reflected on how much her mother, Diana Ross, had influenced her own approach to motherhood. "My mom taught us that anything was possible with hard work, determination, and passion," she said. "She also encouraged us to forge our own paths and not follow the steps of anyone else." That philosophy, of working hard while staying true to oneself, has guided Chudney through every stage of her life. She often describes her mother as the most amazing role model for what motherhood should look like, crediting Diana not only for her success, but also for showing her daughters how to balance ambition with love and independence with family devotion. Ross Arne Naess. When Diana Ross and Norwegian shipping magnate Arne Naess Jr. welcomed their first child together, Ross Arne Naess, on October 7, 1987, it marked the union of two dynamic worlds, the glamour of Hollywood and the rugged allure of the Scandinavian outdoors. Named after his father, Ross inherited not only his father's name, but also his adventurous spirit and deep respect for nature. Though raised amidst fame and fortune, Ross's life has been defined more by grounded values, family loyalty, and exploration than by celebrity status. Growing up as one of Diana Ross's 5 children, Ross was part of a famously blended and artistic family. Yet his childhood was also shaped by the influence of his father, Arne Naess Jr., a world-renowned mountaineer and businessman. Arne's passion for exploration and his philosophy of living close to nature left an indelible mark on his son. Tragedy struck in 2004, 4 years after Diana and Arne's divorce, when Arne died in a climbing accident in South Africa. The loss deeply affected the entire Ross family, but for Ross Arne, It also strengthened his desire to live a life that honored his father's adventurous legacy. Ross has often spoken about his love of the outdoors, a passion clearly inherited from Arne. Whether skiing in the Alps, camping under the stars, or hiking through rugged terrain, he continues to find peace and connection in nature. Friends describe him as humble, introspective, and fiercely loyal, someone who embodies both his father's courage and his mother's nurturing energy. In his personal life, Ross found enduring love with Kimberly Ryan, his longtime girlfriend and creative partner. Their relationship blossomed over many years before Ross decided to make it official. In May 2016, he proposed, a romantic gesture that came just 1 month before the couple welcomed their first child, Naess, born on June 5, 2016. The name Leif, rooted in Scandinavian tradition, pays homage to Ross's Norwegian heritage, reflecting the couple's appreciation for family history and cultural roots. Their wedding, held on June 10, 2017, was a reflection of their shared aesthetic, intimate, artistic, and filled with love. The ceremony took place at Rancho dos Pueblos in Santa Barbara, California, a breathtaking coastal venue that perfectly blended rustic charm with bohemian elegance. As Harper's Bazaar reported, the outdoor wedding was officiated by none other than Diana Ross herself, who beamed with pride as she guided her son and his bride through their vows. The wedding was a true family affair. The bridesmaids, including Ross's sisters Rhonda, Tracee, and Chudney, wore flowing off-white dresses with delicate flower crowns, while the groomsmen were encouraged to accessorize their suits with hats of their choice, a playful twist that reflected Ross's easygoing personality. Ross himself stood out with a classic top hat, which added a touch of vintage flair to the day. Meanwhile, his younger brother Evan Ross, also a musician, serenaded the couple during their first dance, an emotional and unforgettable family moment. Adding to the beauty of the occasion, Kimberly, 7 months pregnant at the time, walked down the aisle barefoot, glowing in a white and gold gown that embodied the effortless bohemian theme of the celebration. Just 2 months later, on August 15, 2017, the couple welcomed their second son, Indigo Naess, completing their family of 4. Since then, Ross has embraced fatherhood with enthusiasm and tenderness. He often shares glimpses of his family life on social media, revealing how much joy he finds in raising his 2 boys. His Instagram is filled with photos of outdoor adventures, quiet family moments, and playful snapshots of Leif and Indigo, whose bond reminds him of his own connection with his brother Evan. In one particularly touching post, Ross shared a throwback photo of himself with Evan alongside a picture of his sons, captioned, "Love you, bro. You're my rock. Fun to see our type of friendship on repeat. Brother love." The message perfectly captured his gratitude for both the sibling relationship that shaped his youth and the new one blossoming between his children. Ross and Evan's bond has long been one of the strongest in the Ross family. The 2 brothers share a mutual admiration that goes beyond familial affection. They are true friends, collaborators, and each other's emotional anchors. While Evan pursued a career in acting and music, Ross chose a quieter life behind the camera and in business ventures, occasionally dabbling in film production and creative projects. Despite their different paths, their brotherly love remains constant, symbolizing the close-knit unity that Diana instilled in all her children. Evan Ross. Evan Olav Ross Naess is the youngest of Diana Ross's 5 children and the second son she shared with Norwegian shipping magnate Arne Naess Jr. From the beginning, Evan seemed destined for a life that combined the glamour of Hollywood with the creative energy of the stage. Growing up surrounded by music, film, and art, he inherited both his mother's soulful charm and his father's adventurous spirit. While his siblings each forged their own paths, Evan emerged as one of the most visible Ross family members of his generation, a talented actor, singer, and devoted family man who continues to honor his family's artistic legacy in his own way. Evan began acting as a teenager and by the early 2000s, his career was already gaining traction. His breakout role came in 2006 with the coming-of-age film ATL, in which he starred opposite rapper T.I. and actress Lauren London. The movie showcased his natural charisma and emotional depth, earning him widespread recognition as one of Hollywood's most promising young talents. Over the years, Evan continued to take on diverse roles, appearing in projects such as Pride, Life Support, According to Greta, and the CW's reboot of 90,210. His ability to shift between film, television, and music reflected the same creative versatility that made his mother an icon. Evan's career reached new heights when he joined the cast of The Hunger Games, Mockingjay, Part 1 and 2, where he portrayed Masala, a member of Katniss Everdeen's film crew. The high-profile role exposed him to a global audience and solidified his place in Hollywood's next generation of stars. He later starred in The United States vs. Billie Holiday, 2021, a film that held special meaning given his mother's legendary performance as Billie Holiday in Lady Sings the Blues nearly 50 years earlier. Evan's portrayal of musician Jimmy Fletcher in the film offered a poignant connection between mother and son, bridging two generations of artistry through one powerful story. Outside of his career, Evan's love story with Ashlee Simpson has been one of Hollywood's most endearing modern romances. The two began dating in 2013 and quickly became inseparable. By January 2014, Evan proposed, and later that year, on August 30th, 2014, they tied the knot in a bohemian-inspired ceremony held at Diana Ross's estate in Connecticut. The event was both intimate and star-studded, attended by close family and friends. Diana herself officiated the ceremony and performed during the reception, creating a magical evening that celebrated not just a marriage, but the union of two musical families. Ashlee's son, Bronx Mowgli Wentz, whom she shares with ex-husband Pete Wentz, walked his mother down the aisle, while her sister Jessica Simpson served as maid of honor. The couple welcomed their first child together, Jagger Snow Ross, on July 30th, 2015. In a sweet and memorable moment, Diana Ross joined Ashlee and Evan in the delivery room, an experience Evan later described with humor and affection. "While Ashlee was having the baby, we said we were going to do it just us," he recalled to People. "But then we saw both our parents behind the curtain watching. Those nurses can't stop my mom. Diana Ross just walks in." The joyful chaos of that day became one of the family's most cherished memories. 5 years later, on October 29th, 2020, Evan and Ashlee welcomed their second child, a son named Ziggy Blue Ross. The couple often shares glimpses of their family life on social media, celebrating birthdays, holidays, and everyday moments with warmth and authenticity. For Evan, fatherhood has been one of life's greatest gifts. In a 2021 interview on the People Everyday podcast, he spoke about how the pandemic gave him the opportunity to bond more deeply with his children. "What a blessing to have had that extra time," he said. "With Jagger, I feel like I learned so much that I might have missed otherwise." Evan also plays an active role in raising Bronx, Ashlee's son from her previous marriage. Their blended family dynamic is grounded in love and mutual respect, something both Evan and Ashlee emphasize in interviews. "We're very different, but we understand each other and we look out for each other," Evan told People in 2018. "We know how to work together to get through whatever we need to get through." Ashlee echoed the sentiment, saying, "With Evan, I don't have to try. He's the most handsome, fun person ever. He makes me feel so great about myself." In addition to his acting career, Evan continues to pursue music, a passion that connects him deeply to his family's roots. He and Ashlee collaborated on several songs together and even launched their own reality series, Ashlee plus Evan, which premiered on E! In 2018. The show gave audiences a rare look into their creative process, family life, and the challenges of balancing fame with normalcy. It also featured cameos from members of the Ross family, offering fans an intimate glimpse into one of America's most beloved showbiz dynasties. What do you think about Diana Ross's children? Leave us your comments in the section below. We hope you have found this helpful video. Don't forget to leave a like, share, and subscribe to the channel if you like it. Thank you for watching this, and see you in the next videos. Goodbye!